Let's move now to the top focus story here on America 360 on NewsX World viewers. Tension between the United States and Venezuela have reached new high as President Donald Trump commented on a controversial U.S. military operation in the Caribbean. Reports suggest that U.S. forces conducted a second strike in September, targeting survivors of an initial attack on a boat, killing at least 2 people. Despite claims from anonymous sources that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered the follow-up strike, Trump denied the accusations, calling the reports as fake news. The U.S. has ramped up its military presence in the region, citing anti-drug operations. But Venezuela insists that the true goal is regime change. Meanwhile, President Maduro has called on OPEC for help, accusing the U.S. of attempting to seize Venezuela's vast oil reserves. With mounting pressure from Washington, including a terrorist designation for the cartel of the Suns, the Venezuelan government is preparing for a possible military confrontation. At least 83 people have been killed in U.S. airstrikes targeting alleged drug trafficking vessels, drawing criticism from human rights groups who have labeled the strikes as extrajudicial killings. And joining us now is John Rassamando, who's the president of Viking Research Associates and geopolitical analyst, joins us live from Washington. Thank you, John, for joining us here at NewsX World and giving us your precious time. John, do you think Venezuela is equipped if U.S. was to move forward in its aggression and wage a war?
Well, let's put it this way. I think that they'd better be looking at insurgency contingencies at the Pentagon in case they decide to go in. I think that we learned in Iraq that taking down a regime is the easy part. But from all intents and purposes, Maduro has been readying militias to take action in the effect the United States takes down his regime. So this could be a quagmire of a conflict if we go in.
All right. John, even as Washington says that the aim of the military deployment that began earlier in September is to curb drug trafficking and smuggling, Caracas is maintaining that the real goal is regime change. What's your opinion on that?
Well, my opinion on that is that, you look at the forces that are being amassed off the coast of Venezuela and in the Caribbean. The only question I would ask is, do you really need that for countering drug smuggling? We've been countering drug smuggling for decades. I mean, going back to the Reagan administration. So I'll just leave that as a question for your audience.
And with the taking over of its airspace, do you think U.S. is now preparing for invasion of Venezuela?
Well, I think that there's a lot of information pointing in that direction. However, considering that I do not have media sources on the matter, I'll decline comment.
All right. Well, thank you for speaking to us here at NewsX World. John, I'd let you go with that. And viewers, a dozen of demonstrators were arrested in Lower Manhattan for attempting to block federal agents conducting immigration enforcement activities. Protesters chanting ICE out of New York logged arms and blocked federal vehicles, some throwing planters at cars. Federal officers have used pepper spray to disperse the crowd. The protest is a part of a broader wave of demonstrations against the Trump administration's immigration policies. Authorities have said agitators obstructed federal law enforcement officers after social media posts revealed their location. Homeland Security officials have condemned the publicizing of ICE locations, citing increased assaults on officers. Tension between federal agents and local authorities escalated, with New York Police Department Commissioner criticizing federal actions for putting public safety at risk. The New York Immigration Coalition has further condemned the law enforcement response and demanded the release of those arrested. I now request John to join us back into this conversation here. John, of course, it's a tough crackdown that Trump is imposing on immigration. It's what we're calling a reverse migration. What do you think is going to happen to those who are already there, particularly the Afghanis who returned after the Taliban takeover?
Well, I hope that the administration takes a nuanced approach to working with the Afghan generals who are living here in the U.S. in exile, because they know they know how to find the bad individuals. They're trained by the CIA, and so they have the experience to go in and find the individuals who are a threat. I know a lot of Afghan military people, including some of the zero units that people have been talking about, who are people of honor and people of integrity, and who are not a threat to our country. So I would hope that they would use the generals as a resource.
Now, multiple people are arrested as protesters are blocking federal agents. Where do you think this is going to go on from here? And crucially here also to note is that Trump himself is a third-generation immigrant.
Well, let's put it this way. This issue is not about immigration. You know, we're a nation of immigrants, but this is an issue of people who broke and entered into our country, who didn't follow our laws, who came here during the Biden administration and potentially before without authorization. Would you, allow a person who entered your home without your permission to stay in your home? This is, really what the issue is.
All right, do stay on with us, John, as we move on to another crucial development that's coming in. Viewers, we're